A life written in sweat, discipline, and destiny. In the long and varied history of Sri Lankan sport, only a handful of names rise above the rest, not merely for medals or records, but for the sheer breadth of their contribution. Among them stands one man whose story defies categories, transcends eras, and rewrites the limits of human versatility. Tuan Nizam Hajireen, Sri Lanka's only triple international star. Tuan Nizam Hajireen, born in 1941, is Sri Lanka's only triple international sportsman, representing the nation in rugby, soccer, and sepak takraw. His journey is not simply the tale of a gifted athlete, it is the chronicle of a man who shaped sports, built institutions, mentored generations, and carried Sri Lanka's flag across continents for more than 60 years. This is the story of a boy from a disciplined, sports-driven family who became a national treasure. A childhood forged in discipline and sporting blood. Nizam was born into a family where sport was not a pastime, it was a way of life. His father, a sergeant major in the Sri Lanka Police, was a celebrated sportsman at Zahira College, Colombo, excelling in rugby and boxing. The Hajireen household was filled with stories of grit, teamwork, and the pride of representing one's school and country. Among the siblings, the eldest brother, Farizan Hajireen, was already a rising star, an athlete, cricketer, and soccer player who represented district teams at national level. The younger Nizam grew up watching Farizan's exploits, absorbing his father's discipline, and discovering that he too possessed a rare, almost uncanny, natural ability for sport. He was the second of 4 boys and 1 girl, competitive, determined, and quietly ambitious. Marriage, fatherhood, and a sporting legacy. In 1965, Nizam married and began a new chapter. His 2 sons would later follow the family tradition, excelling in rugby, cricket, and basketball for their respective colleges. The Hajireen sporting lineage continued, proving that talent, discipline, and passion were deeply rooted in the family's DNA. The athlete who could master any game. From his earliest days in outstation schools, Nizam displayed a rare gift. He could pick up any sport, understand its rhythm, and dominate it. Coaches noticed it. Teammates relied on it. Opponents feared it. Whether on the rugby field, the soccer pitch, or the sepak takraw court, he was a natural match winner, explosive, intelligent, and fiercely competitive. His career would eventually span over 6 decades, evolving from player to coach, administrator, and international official. But first came the era that made him a national icon. The soccer prodigy, 1959 to 1972. Before he became a rugby hero or a sepak takraw pioneer, Nizam was already a rising star in Sri Lankan football. Key milestones. 1959, represented Sri Lanka schools at the first Merdeka Asian Schools Championship in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. 1961, appointed vice-captain of the Sri Lanka youth soccer team for the 3rd Asian Youth Championship in Bangkok. 1961 to 1972, represented the Sri Lanka national soccer team against visiting international teams. His style was fast, tactical, and fearless. He played with the instinct of a street footballer and the discipline of a trained soldier. By the early 1960s, he was already a household name in local football circles. But destiny had more in store. The Rugby Warrior, 1967 to 1977. If soccer revealed his finesse, rugby revealed his fire. National representation. Represented Sri Lanka in rugby from 1967 to 1972. Police rugby dominance. Captained the Sri Lanka police rugby team to become All-Island champions, 1972 to 1973. As coach, led the police team to another All-Island championship in 1977. Guided the police team to win the All India South Asia Championship in 1973. He later qualified as an international rugby coach after completing advanced training in Bisham Abbey, UK, a prestigious achievement at the time. Nizam's rugby career was defined by leadership, strategy, and an unbreakable competitive spirit. He was the kind of captain who lifted a team's morale simply by stepping onto the field. The sepak takraw pioneer, 1987 to 2018. The sport that became his life's mission. If soccer and rugby made him a star, sepak takraw made him a legend. He discovered the sport during his travels and instantly recognized its potential for Sri Lanka. What followed was a lifetime of dedication, building the sport from scratch, nurturing players, and placing Sri Lanka on the Asian map. Founding and leadership. 1988, founded the Sri Lanka Amateur Sepak Takraw Association. 1990, organized the first ever national Sepak Takraw tournament in Sri Lanka. 2015, successfully hosted the second South Asian Sepak Takraw tournament, the first international event of its kind in Sri Lanka. International influence. Nizam became one of Asia's most respected officials in the sport. He served as Senior Vice President, a staff. Deputy President, Asian Sepak Takraw Federation. Vice Chairman, ISTAF Technical Committee. Chairman, ISTAF Disciplinary Committee. Chairman of Jury at Major Asian Games, SEA Games, Asian Beach Games, Asian Indoor Games, and King's Cup World Championships. A visionary innovator. One of his most significant contributions was convincing the ISTAF Congress in 1998 to adopt the synthetic sepak takraw ball, now used in all major tournaments worldwide. Grassroots builder. He conducted over 35 orientation programs across Sri Lanka, increasing the number of clubs from 5 to 64 by 2017. Author and educator. He published the first English-language booklet on the laws of sepak takraw in all three major Sri Lankan languages. Lifetime recognition. He was honored as a lifetime vice president of the Asian Sepak Takraw Federation, a testament to his decades of service. A champion of women's sports. Nizam was not only a sportsman, he was a visionary. 1973, founded women's soccer in Sri Lanka. 2001, founded women's sepak takraw in Sri Lanka. At a time when women's sports received little attention, he opened doors, created opportunities, and built pathways that still empower athletes today. The men behind the legend. What made Nizam Hajireen extraordinary was not just his talent, it was his character. He was disciplined without being harsh, competitive without being arrogant, and ambitious without losing humility. His work ethic was legendary. His commitment to fair play, integrity, and national pride earned him respect across Asia. He proved that talent may open the door, but discipline, sacrifice, and relentless effort are what carry a man to greatness. a national treasure. Volumes could indeed be written about Nizam Hajireen. His story spans continents, generations, and sporting disciplines. He is a rare figure, an athlete, coach, administrator, pioneer, and ambassador. He is, without question, Sri Lanka's only triple international sportsman. A Malay sporting superhero. A builder of institutions. A mentor to thousands. A symbol of discipline, courage, and national pride. His life stands as a shining example for young athletes. Greatness is not an accident, it is a lifetime of choices. In the end, when we look back at the long arc of Sri Lankan sport, certain names shine not because they sought greatness, but because greatness found them. Tuan Nizam Hajireen stands among that rare class of men whose lives become part of a nation's memory, etched not only in trophies and titles, but in the hearts of those who witnessed his discipline, his humility, and his unbroken devotion to the game. He was more than a player, more than a coach, more than an administrator. He was a builder of teams, of institutions, of opportunities that did not exist before he arrived. He carried the hopes of a community, the pride of a nation, and the spirit of a generation that believed in hard work over shortcuts, service over applause, and character over convenience. From the soccer fields of his youth to the bruising battles of the rugby pitch, to the soaring artistry of sepak takraw, his journey reminds us that true champions are not defined by a single arena, but by the courage to rise again and again, wherever their country needs them. To the younger generation, his life stands as a beacon. Talent may open the door, but discipline carries you through it. To the Malay community, he is a symbol of pride and possibility. To Sri Lanka, he is a national treasure. To the world of sport, he is a pioneer whose footsteps will echo for decades. And to us at TBK's Truth Frame, his story is more than history, it is heritage. It is a reminder of why we document, why we remember, and why we honor those who gave their best so that others may dream bigger. This tribute stands as our salute to a man who lived not for applause, but for purpose. A man who proved that one life, lived with discipline and heart, can lift an entire nation. This is TBK's Truth Frame.